What do you do? It's a typical question one would get while I was socializing. And I usually respond, I lead a global inclusion and diversity team. I've grown very accustomed to what comes next. Blank stares, a quick blink or two, even a, what's that? Sometimes people share with me how they perceive or experience D&I with comments like, oh, we hired a black woman to my team. Or, my company sent an email out for Pride. And so I smile, and the conversation begins. I've been in this field for over 10 years at multiple companies, and I've had different job functions. And the one thing that's important to note is that the approach to inclusion and diversity is going to vary based off what the company does, as well as the job function that you're looking at. So you're sitting here thinking, Sarah, what's D&I? Good question, I'll clarify. So the D for diversity is all about creating an environment that is truly representative of the world that we live in. It takes into account, but it's not limited to, age, race, gender, ethnicity, body type, veteran status, disability status, as well as lifestyles, like being a parent or a caregiver or a member of the LGBTQIA community. And inclusion, is what practitioners like me focus on. We're here to make sure that there are ways of work, methodologies, and a practice in place that's truly driving an inclusive business culture. You can't have diversity unless you have inclusion. What I've witnessed, however, is the sheer disconnect of what D&I teams do versus what everyone else thinks that we do. It's honestly felt so black and white. No pun intended. The perception is that D&I teams focus on women and people of color. That's a very limited definition that's in fact holding us back. The reality is that we're here to drive accessibility, accommodations, and ensure that there's fair and equitable sourcing, hiring, retention, development, and promotion of everybody. So tonight, I want to walk us through a couple examples to help us think about what does a D&I strategy really mean? First example, real estate. You'd want to think about the accessibility of a home and how is it accommodating the needs of aging parents, as well as the needs of newborns and small children. And for your marketing strategy, what zip codes are you sending your mailers to? What zip codes are you not sending your mailers to? In pharma or life sciences and biotech, you'd have to think about variables in ensuring diversity in your clinical trials, thinking through age, gender, body type, location, to make sure that you're accounting for any health disparities or health inequities. And for your go-to-market strategy, ensuring branding, images, language that's going to land with your target audience. And my last example is one that we can all relate to, restaurants and hospitality. Any parents or caregivers in the room? Don't you like it when you could go somewhere and they have a crib or a high chair available for you? Or your strollers or walkers, crutches, wheelchairs can navigate the pathways. Having menus that are in different languages, including Braille, and that account for our dietary needs, dietary preferences, and allergies. These institutions have to account for the diversity that walks through their door every second and have a robust inclusion strategy. Some of the companies I love to talk about are Lego, Intuit, Microsoft, Target, because they create experiences and products where a lot of us can see ourselves reflected, and they're easy to use. I'm so proud of the things I've had the chance to work on in my career and the impact I know that I've made. I've created career pathways and job opportunities for people who have had gaps in their resume, people who are neurodiverse and with different disabilities. I've designed and delivered thousands of trainings on breaking biases, cultural awareness and competence, allyship in the workplace, and microaggressions. I've created spaces for different communities to come together and learn from one another and seek mentorship, networking, and do community outreach. And I've also dived deep into data with leaders to understand how can we drive team engagement and motivation and professional development and equitable succession planning. Despite how much my peers and I have on our plates, over 70% of D&I initiatives today are failing. And this is a staggering number that always jolts me with sadness. The reality is that it takes time to change businesses. We require patience. And it is exhausting to constantly have to internally advocate and explain the value that we bring and our alignment to the business strategies and the business goals. We are there to help businesses thrive and evolve. In order for companies to see their D&I teams succeed, it needs to be beyond making it a corporate value on the wall. It needs to be baked in to how you think about designing your products and testing them, to how you design your office spaces and making sure they're accessible for everyone, to how you allocate your budgets and distribute your technology, to the diverse suppliers that you work with, and fair and equitable people practices. But most importantly, your board of directors and leaders need to be bought in and committed. The failure of teams today is often because of limited resources and lack of support. We're viewed as a nice to have, which makes us first to go. When the reality is, we've already changed so many businesses and products around you, and we will continue to do so, and it's critical, especially with the evolution of AI. Just think about the websites and apps that you use. Are they truly user-friendly and accessible for everybody in all languages? And if you talk to a device like me with Alexa or Siri, Bixby, Gemini, these products were designed by leveraging diversity. They had to account for pitch and tone, accent, to make sure that anyone engaging with their product would get a response in return. And for those of you with a smartwatch, just know that this was an idea by a busy mother amidst her day. She came to work and shared an idea that has forever changed the way we communicate around the world. Companies that are fostering inclusion and diversity are seeing a 28 to 33% higher return on investment. We are changing products and cultures and the ways of work. If we all naturally leaned into fostering more inclusion and diversity, we would see more innovation, more productivity, and an increased sense of belonging. And if we employed our population with disabilities, our US GDP could go up by $25 billion. I'll be honest with you. I wish my job didn't have to exist. It's true. I wish that we lived in a world that naturally defaulted to inclusive and equitable behaviors, where everyone felt an ease and a sense of belonging. So join me, and let's create companies and societies where inclusion is not something that we have to do. It's a state of being. And when that day comes, let me know if you're hiring. We'll know how to transform a business.